Well, you know it. If it's Thursday morning, it's time for another About Mansfield Consumer Advice Series episode. I'm your host, Steve Casillo. Thanks for being here today. And you are either listening live on, watching live on Facebook, or you are watching the video on YouTube or LinkedIn. Or you could be listening to the podcast on your favorite platform. Podcast platform. In any event, sure appreciate you being here today. Today, if you've lived in Mansfield for more than 2 years, which I would say would be the majority of, if not everyone out there, you remember the deep freeze, the snowmageddon of 2021, where we all were stuck inside our homes for about 3 or 4 days, and so while most of us were nice and toasty inside our homes, something was happening outside your home, and that is today's topic, the after effects of the deep freeze and what those effects have had on your trees. And so we bring in today our friendly neighborhood certified arborist, that would be Cameron Scott right here. And Cameron, welcome back to About Mansfield.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
And today, every week you seem to be in your car every week, and you're at various locations around town. But today you're in Mansfield.
I am in Mansfield. I'm in a neighborhood kind of close to Summit High School of Turner Ward now.
Yeah, very cool. Let's talk about this deep freeze of 2021 because it affected everyone. Not only some neighborhoods lost power, but everyone kind of had to stay in place for 3 or 4 days while pretty much the entire state was in a deep freeze. Let's talk about the trees and the effect. What happened to the trees during the winter storm of February 2021?
Right. So the thing about that storm that made it so devastating, and that not a whole lot of people remember, is that for a couple weeks, excuse me, before that, we had temperatures in the 60s and 70s, and a lot of the local trees got fooled. They thought it was time for spring. It was time to put out new growth. So they had started pulling new water and nutrients from the ground, getting ready to put out new leaves. And then what happened is it dropped all the way down to about -2 in a matter of 36 to 48 hours. And a lot of trees, when that happens, they can't act that fast. They can't pull that water back into the ground or where it's not going to hurt them. And so the water and the nutrients that they were pulling up froze, expanded the bark in spots, and a lot of tips, like an outer ring of tips on the tree, just completely froze, and died.
And let's go back to the bark. Obviously, the bark
Mhm.
protects the interior of the tree. What are some of the things that would happen to a bark in a deep freeze like this?
Right. So the bark isn't so much an issue. The bark's just kind of a protective outer layer. The most important part of the tree is what's known as the cambium layer, and that's just underneath the bark. It's even imperceptible to the naked eye unless you really know what you're looking for. But it's basically the tree's transport system of sugar and nutrients.
Okay.
And that is the thing that froze and expanded and popped that bark off.
I
And
gotcha.
over the last 18 months or so, as time has gone on and the element has been exposed to the elements, that bark is starting to slough off more and more.
And when the bark removes itself from the tree, that opens up all kinds of problems, including, I would assume, bark beetles.
Oh, absolutely. So when a tree suffers a traumatic event like that, their hormones are all out of whack, right? They're prioritizing growth in certain areas versus other areas, and they're emitting a whole lot of different hormones. One of those hormones is a form of alcohol called ethylene, and unfortunately, bark beetles and other boring insects have evolved a way to detect ethylene and target stressed trees to attack because their natural defense system isn't as sturdy as it once was.
Okay. So how do we protect a tree from not only bark beetles but other intruders that are now working their way into the cracked bark?
Well, that answer is it's a little bit hard. Once a tree has born insects or bark beetles inside, it is almost impossible to penetrate that bark to get to where they are. If they're actively inside the tree, there's truly no way to get them out. What we can do is spray the bark with insecticide a few times during the year to form a kind of a protective coating against future infestations. And then when the adult beetles then emerge from the bark, it will also kill them on the way out.
Okay, gotcha. And then let's talk about preventative, because this was a pretty freak winter storm, but it's not to say that it will never happen again. Is there a way to
Sure.
protect your trees in a storm in the future?
So what we saw was that during the winter storm of 2021, we trees that suffered the most almost always had they were always stressed before that. They were always, maybe they were just poking out of some gravel, or maybe they were in a situation where they had too much moisture in the soil. They were some sort of stress event affecting them before the freeze, and then that was exacerbated by this traumatic event in February 2021. So to answer your question is to eliminate these stress factors from your trees, so that in the event of this of a catastrophic event, they'll be their health meter will be more full to start with, so to speak.
Okay, and that leading to the next question then, that if someone doesn't know how to prevent or the how to take care of their tree, obviously the next best step then is to bring in an expert who can teach them or take care of them trees on their behalf.
Oh, absolutely. Always, when in doubt, always call a certified arborist to come out. There's many reputable people around the area. I don't know anyone who charges a consultation fee. If they do, then they're probably not worth your time anyway.
Yeah. All right. So some trees out there, we're still, gosh, a year and a half later after the deep freeze that we've been calling it. A year and a half later, are still showing signs of stress. And what can be done to help those freeze damaged trees recover?
Well, number one, you definitely want to get a preventative a bark beetle treatment on there. I think that would be paramount. That's number one. Number two, get a soil sample sent in and see if there's any nutrient deficiencies that may be contributing to the tree stress levels. And then number three, look for other outside stresses, maybe irrigation, too much irrigation, maybe not enough irrigation. Try to mimic a more of a forest environment for it to where it can really be its best self.
All right, so bark beetle prevention. So submit a water sample to a certified arborist and work on the stresses of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just making sure. I was taking notes there, so just because I've got a few trees. In fact, I don't know a Mansfield resident that doesn't own a tree. So if someone wanted more information about their stressed trees or trees in general, how can they reach out to Cameron Scott?
You can give my office a call at 817 87 sorry 817 87 no, that's the wrong number. I'm sorry. 817-656-8733. That's the office phone number. Or you can send me an email at cscott@bartlett.com. I will say that I've seen the most bark beetles this year on live oaks and various pine species. So those are the two that they seem to be favoring so far, although bark beetles can occur on pretty much every tree.
All right. That's good information. That is your friendly neighborhood certified arborist, Cameron Scott with Bartlett Tree Experts. And we do these 10-minute nuggets every Thursday. And so if you missed one, you can go back through the archives. if you are anticipating one. Again, Thursday mornings, 9:30, right here live on Facebook or recorded and played back. Cameron, let's do it again next week.
I look forward to it.